Good morning everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be a little bit different. The wonderful folks over at DxO Software have reached out to me and they wanted me to test their product specifically with my setup, which is the Canon Rebel T7 and 70-300mm lens. They want to see how it handles the noise operations above, well, from 800 ISO to 1600, and see if I can integrate that into my workflow. Now, as some of you know, this being an entry-level camera, the signal to noise ratio is just awful, and anything 1600 to 3200 is passable. Anything above that is pretty much unusable. It handles noise horribly. So what I've been doing the past couple days, I've been out in the field just trying to gather photos to test it. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be focused on working with the software and see how we can integrate that with my current editing workflow, which you haven't seen yet, and we'll be displaying that in this video. I typically just open everything up in Lightroom and adjust accordingly. I apply some denoise with the AI denoise that's inside Lightroom. Now, this software is supposed to be a precursor to that. So what would happen is I would open up the raw files within DxO, apply whatever denoise I have, and then bring it back into said software, Lightroom, Photoshop, Affinity, whatever you utilize. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I'm out here right now trying to get some photos by the pond. If I see anything, I'll take a photo. If I don't capture anything, then we'll just head inside and start working on it. Okay, so we're back here. It's a pretty uneventful day. We're here in my what I call the command center, where I do all my editing just right in the front of my house. It's a pretty boring day in terms of shooting photography for wildlife. We've got some pretty significant wildfires in the area. If you've been keeping up with the news, there's one about 2 hours away from here that's 29,000 acres on fire. I think they said it was caused by a balloon hitting a power line. I don't know, but it's causing a lot of disruption in the area. Very hazy environment, very smoky, poor air quality. So I don't think a lot of the animals have stuck around to endure that. All right, so let's get started. We're here. Got the desktop open. I've got the DxO PureRAW 6 program open. Also got Lightroom, and I have my folder here with just my test subjects. So I just want to go ahead and show you. I'm going to open up this file here. I've chosen 5 different photos to pick from, and I just want to show you or demonstrate to you how noisy some of my photos are. We'll go to the first one here, and I'll just check and see if my EXIF data is on here, so you can see. Yep, so the ISO speed here is at 1600, shot at f8, 32 hundredths of a second. So 1600 is pretty intense for the Rebel T7. I said it was manageable, anywhere from 800 to 1600, or 1600 to 3200 is manageable. Anything above that's pretty much unusable. So I'm just going to open this just so I can show you exactly what it looks like. We got the picture of a dragonfly here. I'm just going to zoom in for you just so you can see all the various noise, the color noise, not very sharp or clear. It's a beautiful photo nonetheless. Now this is shot at 300 millimeters, and at a wide open aperture at 5.6, there would be zero clarity on this. So I've stopped down to I think f8 for this one. Anywhere from 7.1 to f8. It does a pretty decent job, but as you can see, there's heavy noise here when you zoom in. Now the real test for me is to see what it looks like when it goes to mask the subject. All right, so we're going to test this one first. Okay, we're going to open up our DxO PureRAW 6. Now, as you can see, the interface is very simple, very straightforward. You can either add images to Lightbox from this button here, or just drag and drop images or the entire folder if you'd like. But I'm just going to do it, add raw images to Lightbox via the plus button. First one we're going to do is the dragonfly photo. Now it does have to be in a raw format. I did check out and see if you can add TIFF or JPEG or any other, processed formats, and it will not take it whatsoever. So we got it here. The first thing I'm going to do is just go down here to the right and say process. Okay. And we've got some options here. We got the corrections tab here, and we've got the output here. Okay. So I'm just going to open up the corrections tab. And it starts with something called Deep Prime 3, and we also have Deep Prime XT3. I'm not even sure what that is. I'm just going in this blindly. Luminance settings set to 40, force details at 0, lens sharpness optimization standard with the intensity of, looks like it's 100%, vignetting, chromatic aberration, lens distortion, image crop to original ratio, and reach HUD dust removal, which is unchecked. Now, this is just straight out of the box, standard settings for this program. Now, I'm just going to apply this and see what it does. Okay, we're going to process now. Should take a minute. Not even, very fast. Okay, so once processing is done, it gives you 3 options. Go to Explorer, View Results, or Export to whatever file you choose. I'm just going to hit View Results from right here. Okay, now it does come with a little slider, so you can see the before and after here. And I gotta say, it looks okay. Looks pretty clean. I'm going to zoom in here and see what it really looks like. All right, so here's the before. A lot of color noise in this photo. Bring the slider over, and it does bring out a lot of clarity and sharpness. It looks like it's adding information via AI to the photo where there wasn't any before, or at least correcting the pixels. Now the sharpness is pretty intense, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see it from there, but it does add like a little bit of a white halo around the subject. Maybe not so much on the wings because it's a little out of focus. But anywhere where it seems to include the sharpness, it adds a white halo just a little bit. But overall, I gotta say that looks pretty decent. That looks very good. Now, like I said before, the real test is going to be when I go to add a mask in Lightroom. Okay, over here on the tail end, you can see the white halo here. Just a little bit. It looks like it beefs that up a little bit too. But I gotta say that looks pretty decent. Okay, so we've got that processed. I think I'm gonna keep that one. Now, it looks like once you do this, from what I understand, I don't know if it automatically saves it, but when I go to open up my folder here, it looks like we have the uh, the DxO Deep Prime 3 file, DNG file, has already been exported, even though I did not export it. So that's interesting. So we'll keep that one there. I think that looks pretty decent. Go ahead and let's add another photo. Let's add an image. And we're gonna do this one here, the bird. We got a bird here on a post. Okay, we'll click this one. We'll go to process. And we'll just leave the standard again and see what it does. Give it a minute. And view results. Okay, looks like it's done processing. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, it looks like we got the bird here on the perch. This wasn't as heavily noisy, just a little bit out of focus. We got some great morning dramatic lighting from the sun. So let's slide it over and see what it does. Oh, wow, that adds a lot of sharpness and detail. Maybe a little bit too much. A little bit pixelated for my taste, to be honest with you. And we still got the white halo surrounding the subject. Highlights are just a little bit blown out, but it cleaned up the noise beautifully. Does a really nice job of cleaning up the noise, but the sharpness might be a little bit too much. Clarity looks great there actually from a distance, but when you go to zoom in, it doesn't look that great. But that looks nice. That looks decent. As a matter of fact, I think I'll keep that one as well. This almost needs no more editing. Maybe I'll just bump down the sharpness a little bit. So let's give that a test and see what that does. I'll go back here to process. I'll go to corrections again. Okay, so we got the lens sharpness optimization here. I'm just going to bring that down to a soft, and that brings that down to 75%. Dust removal, no, we don't need any. So we'll go ahead and just click apply, process. Selecting new behavior, of course, is already a DNG, so we're just going to overwrite that one. View results. Okay, let's see what that one does. Oh, now that looks a lot better. That looks a lot better in my opinion. Not too crazy. Just enough to where we can see the sharpness, where it's not look like someone took a chisel to the photo. But I think that looks fantastic, and that's my opinion. Um, as an artist, I spent several years in the VFX industry. We always want to just keep adding and adding and adding or changing so much, and sometimes it's hard for us just to step away from our project and realize, okay, sometimes less is more. But I think that looks fantastic. The clarity on his eye, the sun reflections coming in, hitting the right spots. That's a fantastic photo. I think I'll keep that one the way it is. So we'll go back to Lightbox here. Let's see if it's saved. Yep, it looks like it's automatically been exported into my folder. Okay, so for the next one we're going to do is, let's go ahead and add images. We're going to do this wonderful shot here of a butterfly. I'm not even sure the species or the species of the plant that this is on, but here in Southeast Georgia, we get a lot of these really wicked looking plants um, with a lot of spikes and stuff on it. I have to do some research and find out exactly what they are and what kind of butterfly this is. Let's go to process, and I think we'll keep the lens sharpness optimization, I apologize, at 75 and just see where it goes from there, and we'll adjust accordingly. Let's hit apply, process now. And this works very quickly. View results. Zoom in. Ooh, added a bunch of clarity here. Now, as you can see, the real test is to see the noises in the background. You see, you got all this color noise here. And when you go to slide this over, it looks like it just wipes it out. It leaves a little bit of grain, which is great because it still reveals that it looks more like an authentic photo than an AI generated one. But I'd say this looks fantastic too. Let's get a little more detail here on the butterfly. Zoom in. Yeah. Now applying a mask to this might be a little difficult just because so much contrast in the black. The flower looks fantastic. It's a very clear image. I'd say that looks fantastic. One more time. Before, after. I'd say that's pretty manageable. Now, as you can see here on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, we've got some of the EXIF data. It's ISO 1600 and 2500ths of a second at f8. I'd say this does a pretty fantastic job. In my opinion, it might even do a better job than the AI denoise software built into Lightroom. I'm going to keep this one exactly where it's at. Okay, let's add. We only got 2 more images left. Okay, we're bringing this one, which was a black vulture that I saw out on the trail. It's the first time I've ever seen one land. Yeah, it's pretty spectacular. I saw one land because they're always hovering above. You never see them on the ground. But I saw one land right in front of me, and I thought it was, a spectacular opportunity to get a quick photo because he eventually saw me and booked it out of there. So let's go ahead and process this one. And we'll keep the same settings we had on last time with the soft optimization and everything. Go to process. View results. And there he is. I'm going to zoom in. Yeah, we got him on the bank of the canal here. There's a canal back there. Okay. So this one has a little bit more issues with it in terms of noise and clarity. The sharpness does not look great. I was a little bit of a distance. Zoom in. Yeah. So it didn't look like it took care of most of the color noise, especially on the black in the background. Ooh, it did a fantastic job on the background too. Still leaving a little bit of grain, which I think looks fantastic. Check out the facial features here. So from here, yeah, okay. Maintaining shadows and highlights, which looks really good. Yeah, it looks like it ripped that noise apart. So this one, I'm not so sure about. think the sharpness might be a little bit too aggressive. So, but that's just my opinion. The sharpness in the foreground looks great. Background, not so much. All right, so we're gonna go back to Lightbox. Now from here, I'm just gonna hit process again so I can readjust. So for the lens sharpness optimization, I'm just gonna go ahead and bring it down to 50. Oh, 50. And let's do a little dust removal. Let's see what that one does. Let's just start somewhere small, like around 5. Okay, we've got everything else set up. Luminance, force details. Yep, I think that looks good. Apply, process now, overwrite. And it's done. All right, let's view the results. Let's see the difference here. Okay, I think that looks a little bit better. Obviously, the quality of the photo isn't spectacular, but I think that's still a great photo that we can work with. God, it really murders that noise, doesn't it? It takes it way out. Applying a mask to this might be a little bit difficult to at least boost the clarity around the facial features, but I think we can do well with that one. That looks like one that could be posted on my Instagram for sure. That's just a great photo, and I'm proud of this photo because the encounter that I had with him or her, the encounter was just phenomenal. I don't think I'll ever see a black vulture land for me again. So I think we're gonna work with that one. I think that looks fantastic. Yep, took that noise right out. Okay, back to Lightbox. We got one more photo left. Let's see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, I got 4 photos that have been exported. And the last one is something special. I wanted to keep it for last because it's pretty special to me. Just walking along the same path, and I saw this fantastic tree. I'll pull it up for you. And we got 3 baby woodpeckers just hanging out. I think they're pileated woodpeckers. They got the red crown here and the fantastic white stripes in there. They were just hanging out in a tree. I got several photos of it. Tried to get as clear as possible. The lighting was just awful. Very cloudy, overcast type of day. So we're gonna bring, this is gonna be my real test here. We're gonna bring this photo into the denoise software. We got add images here, add photos, and we're gonna click this one and process. All right, so this is the one where I have to really pay attention to what I'm doing. So the lens sharpness, we're going to keep it 50 for now. Dust removal, sure. And we'll keep everything the same as we did the last photo and just see how that one looks. Process. All right, view results. Now, because this photo is super dark, I'm going to have to do a lot of work with retaining the levels in this and removing some shadows just to bring out the detail in these 3 little guys here. All right, so here's the before and after. Okay, it looks like it does a pretty decent job of removing the noise, and overall clarity isn't too bad. Definitely got to bring those shadows up some. But one thing I wanted to pay attention to is because there's a lot of little holes in this tree, and I don't want the sharpness to be overblown in this. As you can see, it might just be a little bit too much sharpness here. Here really brings out the clarity in the tree, though. You can see that the holes are so much more pronounced. It's got some crazy brown and beige colors going on. But I think I'm going to keep this one the way it is. So that way when I go to bring it in Lightroom, I'll adjust a little bit more. But I think that looks fantastic. It's gonna be a really cool photo to post. See how people react to it. All right, so let's go back to our light box. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 photos that we've done. Overall, I'd say the software is very easy to use. It does a fantastic job of cleaning up your photos. It's very fast. Now, I've also been asked to do some astrophotography photos. Now, the thing with astrophotography, as I'm sure some of you might know, is that when you're doing deep sky objects, you have to take a lot of photos. Now, sometimes it could be anywhere from 100 to, depending on what your settings are, thousands of photos. And you have to stack those photos in a software like Deep Sky Stacker or Serial or something of that sort. And from there, you are exported a not a raw file, so it's no longer a CR2 DNG. It's like a TIFF. There's some other formats I just can't remember, and you cannot bring those into this software. Now, what I think you could do is batch process all your raw photos. We're talking thousands of photos um, in PureRAW 6 to see what happens. I don't know if it would work out well. Um, so that's something that I'll have to discuss with them to see if they're capable of, changing some things up with their software to be able to be more manageable with astrophotography. Even though there are some great denoising softwares out there for astrophotography. Um, yeah. So for right now, I don't have anything that I can utilize to show you guys how it works with astrophotography. But for right now, I think with the 5 photos that I have, I think it looks fantastic. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring, we're going to work on my woodpecker photo. We're going to bring it up here in Lightroom, but we're going to import all of them. So I'm just going to go over here in Lightroom and find my folder here on the desktop. Users, Skywatcher, and desktop. Go to DxO test, and we're going to make sure that we're going to uncheck all. We're just going to pick the ones that were completed by the DxO software. Bring them in, import those. Okay, so let's get to work here on my woodpecker photo. Click here, bring it into develop. Now this one didn't have a lot of noise because it was shot at ISO 200. As you can see, we got ISO 200, 300 millimeters, f8, and 1/500th of a second for the photo capture. All right, so I'm gonna zoom in here a little bit and see if we can add a mask and just see what it looks like. Let's try the object mask here. I'm going to draw a little square around these guys. See how much it works. Okay, so it's not too bad. As you can see here, this is the artifacts that I was talking about in terms of how it would turn out with the masking as far as the denoise go. You get these, this like red messy halo that goes around your subject. Now, I would normally take some time to clean this up and make sure it's nice and clean. But I currently don't have the time for that right now. So we're just going to leave as is. And then we're just going to bring the highlights out and the shadows up a little bit. It looks like it didn't get all of them either. So let's add another object mask and try to get these guys a little more. And one more. We didn't get his whole thing. There we go. A little bit better. I got some of the tree there, but that's okay. This is just for demonstration purposes. All right, so from here, I'm going to bring the shadows up just a little bit. Make sure these guys are a little spread out there. We're going to increase the contrast a little bit. Bring the highlights up. Shadow might be a little bit too intense. So bring that down a little bit. Let's bump up the clarity on them a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, so we're here at, let's say 29. Not going to apply a dehaze right now. I just want to see what that looks like. A little bit too artificial. Bring the highlights down some. Okay, so that being said, I'd say it's not too bad. I'll take some time to clean those up. So from what I can say is that the DxO software, integrating that before you apply anything else within Lightroom, I'd say is a pretty solid addition to my editing workflow. I really like it. I think it's very quick, very efficient, and you don't have to worry about messing with all the other tabs here in Lightroom for your lens correction or even adding a sharpening mask or anything like that. Looks like it's all pretty much taken care of. I could add some masks here and add some lighting effects, change the color grading a little bit, but all in all, I think it looks fantastic. So, in my opinion, I think DxO software is fantastic, especially for wildlife photography. That's my take on it. I think it's fantastic, totally worth it, very simple to use. All right, so that'll be it for this video. Thanks for checking it out. See you next time. If you've liked what you've seen in the video and you're interested in trying the DxO PureRAW software, head over to www.dxo.com/DxO-PureRAW/. And when you're ready to make a purchase, you can get 15% off by using the code Tanglewood15. That's TANGLEWOOD15 for 15% off.